Release the Kraken!
Greetings, fellow game designers. Ron here at Lame Studios. And today, we're going to be taking a look at how to do a Raycast. I'm in a new Unity project. It doesn't really matter what project you're in, but this one is nice and clean so that you have a fresh point of reference. So, what is a Raycast? A Raycast, or a line trace, is literally just drawing a line from one point to another and seeing if something crosses that line. You can use it for if you're looking at a door or if you're looking at like a treasure chest. It's a convenient way of sampling things in the world. So let's go ahead and dive in. So we're going to create something to raycast from. I'm going to go to my hierarchy here. 3D object, we'll make a cube. And let's go ahead and make a script. So we'll come down here, create. Let's make a mono behavior script. And we will just call this Raycast test. Fire that up inside of Visual Studio. And for this, we're going to be very clean. We don't really need a lot of this extra stuff. We'll just use our update function here. And all we really have to do to get a Raycast going is type in physics.raycast. Throw some parentheses on there, and now we can draw a Raycast. If you hover your mouse over, you can see we have some options. We need a point of origin, a direction, a distance, and a bunch of other stuff. And you can actually see there's a 15 overloads, which means there are like 15 other ways you can call a Raycast. But we'll keep it pretty simple for right now. So we'll just say our starting point is going to be transform.position. This is going to be the position of whatever object it's attached to. Next up, we need the direction. So the direction on here is ideally you can pass in any vector you want, but a normalized vector is better, where all the values are arranged from 0 to 1. A standard vector will work, but normalized vectors are better. So for our case, we'll just take the forward direction from our object because your vector 3 forward is normalized. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. So transform.forward. So now we have our point of origin and we have the direction we want to aim this thing down. Now we need to go some distance away from our direction. So the max distance here, I'm just going to type in, I don't know, 100. And I'll put a little F for a float, comma. And of course, you can do a bunch of other stuff. You can add layer masks and so on and so forth. But actually, I think this is going to be good for now. So go ahead and hit save. Let's drag our script to our cube. And we will hit play. And of course, we don't see anything because the Raycast is invisible. You can't see them. But that's the end of the video. I'm kidding. We can do some stuff to see the Raycast, but just know that Raycasts are invisible, so we have to take an extra step. So we're going to go ahead and hit stop. Come back into our code here. Let's go ahead and do a draw ray. So debug.draw. And we have a few options. You can do a line or a ray. I'm going to go ahead and choose ray. Throw some parentheses on there. Now the ray we're going to draw is not the same as our Raycast. This is going to be a debugging thing that lets us see it, but this is not the actual ray. So if you have different values, if your math is different, you might have a longer or shorter debug ray than the actual Raycast. So you want to be consistent. So we'll go ahead and do that. We need a start point and a direction, like before, but this time we can pass in a color and a duration. So I'm going to go ahead here. Same thing, we're going to do transform.position. And then we need our direction, so transform.forward. Now going back to what we were saying earlier about the draw ray not being an equivalent to the actual Raycast, we have to make sure that we multiply our transform forward by our Raycast's max distance. You don't have to do that on the Raycast because that's handled internally. So I'll go ahead and do that. So I do times 100F, which is the same thing here. And now we'll go ahead and pass in a color. So color, and then dot, we'll choose red. Okay, so now this should produce a ray that is of the same length as our actual raycast. So we can save that. Go ahead and hit play. And I can't see it here, but if I go to my scene view, there it is. Of course, that's not too convenient. If I'm testing and debugging my game, I want to be able to see what's going on in the game view. So what can I do to see inside of the game view? If you're in your game view, come over to the right and just go ahead and toggle the gizmos icon there. And now we can see our ray. Hooray! Of course, we can't really do anything with it. Let's give our cube a little bit more functionality. Let's go ahead and stop. We'll jump back in here. Before we draw our ray, I'm going to go above here. Let's just make it so we can turn our cube. So if we'll do input dot get key, we'll do key code dot A. So that's going to be our left direction. And we're going to just rotate our cube. So transform dot rotate. And we don't want to rotate on the X, so we'll pass in 0. For the Y value, we'll do a negative, let's do negative 15. And we will multiply that by our time.delta time. And then for our Z value, we can leave that at 0. And then I'll do else if. Input.getKey. We'll do key code D. Let's copy this piece up here. And this time for the D key, that's going to be rotating to the right. I'll just make that positive 15. And again, we're going to go and multiply that by our frame rate, which is our delta time here. That'll just make it consistent as we rotate. Let's go ahead and save that. And now I can just rotate, and you can see that the ray is pointing relative to our cube. Cool. Now let's give it something to hit. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click. Let's make a cylinder. That's pretty good. Let's move this to 0, 0, 0. And then we will move that over here. That looks good. So now if we hit play, we can rotate. Look at that. And we can hit this object. Of course, we can't really tell. You can see that we're passing through it, but we're not really getting any feedback. So we're going to go ahead and add in some visual cues to let us know that this is actually being hit. Let's go ahead and add a second debug ray. So I'll just go ahead and copy the current one, and I paste that underneath. And all I want to do here is I want to change the red to green. And then I need to adjust the output of this ray. But I need to do it by the thing that we hit, right? We need to figure out what we hit and what the difference is between the ray that we cast and the actual object. Luckily, there's an easy solution for that. So if you come up to your ray, hold down the control key, and hit the Raycast. That's going to bring you into this decompiled code section where you can see all of the different overloads for the Raycast. So these are all the different Raycasts that we can use. They're all the same name. We just have to provide a different set of parameters or a different signature to get a different functionality. We want a Raycast that outputs a hit result. So if we scroll down here, you can see that there are a few of them. So there's a Raycast out hit here, and so on. And based on what we put into our parameters here, we'll get a different result. So we'll use this one right here. So we have our origin, our direction, our out ray, and then our distance. So we're going to add this out ray, and you can see the order. So origin, direction, our out hit, and then our distance. So I'm going to come back. So we have our point of origin, we have our direction, and we have our distance. So between these two, I need to add the out hit. So I'm going to throw down a comma, and then I'll do out raycast hit. And then we'll just call it, and you can see there are some suggested names here. You can use whatever name you want. You can call it mom, you can call it puppy dog, it doesn't really matter. But the suggested hit info sounds good, so I'll say hit info. Cool. So now when we hit something, we can use this hit info to see what we hit. So I'm going to come down to our raycast for the green. I'm going to replace the 100 value on the green one with hit info dot distance. So that is going to return the distance from what we hit, and we should see that our raycast reacts to that, which is a wonderful visual update. Bam! There's our hit. We have our confirm right there. Pretty convenient. So now we can test things in the world. So we could use this, of course, for firing a bullet, and when you fire a bullet, it moves through space, it kind of teleports. So a raycast is great because the raycast will give you a clear line of, did something get hit in this path? That's great. You can also use it for sampling things in the world. So I can figure out if the thing that I hit is the thing that I want to hit, right? So how can I find out what this object is? Well, we can come back in. We have our hit info. I'm going to come after the hit info here and say debug.log. Inside of the log, I'll do the hit info dot. Let's get the collider. And then from the collider, we can get the name. So dot name. So now when we hit this object, we should get a debug report of what that object is. Now, if we go to our console, you're going to see that we're getting a lot of null reference errors. And that's just because our ray is currently hitting nothing, and we're telling it to report whatever our ray is hitting, which is currently nothing. But we'll take care of that. But once we hit something, boom, you can see that we're hitting the cylinder. So it's reporting it by name. And of course, you can get more than just a name. You can get its texture. You can get the rigid body that it has. You can get any components that are attached to it. There's all kinds of stuff you can do once your ray has made contact with the object. Very handy tool. Let's go ahead and clean this up just a little bit. So I'm going to hit stop here. To prevent our ray from shouting into the world and breaking if we hit nothing, we'll just put a little safety on this. We'll say if hit info, and we'll get the collider. We'll say if it's not equal to null, and look, IntelliSense knows what I want, so not equal to null. Then we can report what we hit. That will save us from having a bunch of errors. So now errors, which is good. And then, bam, we're hitting the cylinder. And if we hit this little collapse icon here, we can collapse all the reports so that they only go into one heading. And you can see they're counting over here. So we've done close to 10,000 hits at this point because we're getting a ray hit every tick. Another cool thing we can do with Raycasts is set up a layer mask. So what you can do here, let's go ahead and make another object. Let's make, let's do a sphere. And I'll just put that right behind my cylinder here. So if we come up to our Raycast and go back to our overloads, you'll see that we have an option to add in a layer mask. So what a layer mask does, if we jump back in, is it allows us to kind of filter the objects that we're hitting. So I'm going to go to the top here. And let's just make a public layer mask. Let's leave it as mask for now. Then we'll come down to the Raycast. And we add in, after our max distance, comma, you can see the next thing in line is the layer mask. So I'm going to type in mask. So this is the mask that we're filtering. So anything that is this mask is what we want our raycast to confirm a hit on. So we'll save. And then inside of Unity, if we click on our objects here, we can come up to the layer option. Right now it's at the default. And let's set this to, let's add a layer. And I'll make a mask for cylinder, and I'll make one for sphere. So let's do cylinder and sphere. Don't worry about the numbering, that doesn't matter as much. It does bug me that Unity made a gap, but it's however they did it. So now we have those, we can grab our objects. I can make this one the cylinder. And I can make this one the sphere. All right, and then if I select my cube, scroll on down to the Raycast test, we have the option to set the mask, and we want it to confirm hit on sphere. So where is this sphere? There he is. If we hit play, swing that around, you can see that. Even though our ray passes in line with that cylinder, because our cylinder is not a sphere, we've masked it out, right? We've filtered out anything we don't want to hit. And now we can confirm hit on the thing that we want. Important thing to note is that a raycast, when in line, will give you one confirmed hit. So if I make a duplicate sphere, this one will not get hit because it is blocked by our first confirm hit. So just be aware of that. Only one object is going to be hit here. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. If you've enjoyed this format, let me know down in the comments, and I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thank you for checking out my channel. If you enjoyed that video you just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, my comic, The Wielders of Ether, is out. Yay! You can grab a copy of it locally in the St. Pete, Clearwater area at Emerald City Comics and Games, or Retro Rat. They also have it there. Patrick is working on getting a deal out in LA for a comic shop out there to put them up. I will let you know when that happens. You can also grab it on the website, brucebooks.com, or you can come out locally, and I'm going to be at some signing events out at the Imagine Museum. That's going to be August 28th. It's going to be a Friday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. I'm going to have a booth out there signing and having a chat. Also going to be at the Safety Harbor Comic Fest. That's going to be September 26th. That's going to be a Saturday. Again, I'm going to have a booth out there and signing and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, hopefully I see you there. And thank you for watching.